Hello, everyone. We are the Winners Club podcast. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Also, we are on Spotify and Buzzsprout. And also, for the video version, we are on YouTube. We are a wellness nonfiction podcast that can be found on those platforms. Gentlemen, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about New Year's resolutions, but in a different way.
Not the
New Year, new me kind of way.
New Year, new opportunity kind
Correct.
of way. So today's podcast, we're going to be talking about getting involved in new habits, but also deviating away from the bad. Creating a goal for yourself this year is pretty much, okay, you set the expectation, I want to go to the gym this year. Okay, well, how do you do that? We're going to be talking about that in today's podcast. So when I look at what New Year's means to me, it's a new opportunity, right? You have a new opportunity to do something, but you don't just wake up the next day and have superpowers. Tony Stark did not wake up and become Iron Man the next day.
You're right.
Very true.
So how do you get to that point? How do you get to that point of setting a goal? So it could be anything. You can have any kind of goal. I'm just going to say the gym's probably the most common one. People who aren't exercising say, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. For instance, you see people when if you go to any kind of gym in your town and
it's packed for 2 weeks.
It's packed for 2 weeks, exactly.
For 2 weeks, and then nobody comes back again.
So why is that? I
Because
believe
people get motivated.
People get motivated for 2 weeks, and then that kind of energy spurt deviates away from you, and then what? You don't do it, and you give up.
Right.
But I think they're going about that in the wrong way. Yeah, they want to go to the gym, but are they eating healthy? Are they sleeping right? Are they taking all those things into consideration? So I think if we can preach the ideas that, okay, it's actually not as simple as you think. You have a goal, but you have to tackle it one obstacle at a time. You have to observe and influence your thoughts in a way that's going to help you accomplish that goal. So number one, I think we should talk about getting away from the bad. If we're doing things that are counterintuitive to what we're trying to accomplish for our goals, we're never going to go anywhere. It's like you can't outrun a bad diet. Things like that. If your goal maybe to get an A in one class, but if you're never doing your homework in that class, you're never going to get an A. It's all the principles that come with that goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Another thing I tend to notice too is I think James Clear said in his book Atomic Habits, where it's like it's okay if you can miss one day, but if you miss those 2 days, you're gonna get comfortable with your old habits. You're gonna pick it up again. Another thing too that I see what also people that want to get in the gym is they go. I mean, for me, I didn't like the gym at first. Like I hated the first week. I gave it at least 2 weeks, and I swear those 2 weeks I don't know. I just got so motivated to keep going and keep pushing myself. I saw I was gaining significant weight. And I just think people just give up too easily on it. I think they should at least give it 2 weeks. And another thing too, what I was doing is I was going at the same time every single day. So I got in the habit of going at my 7 o'clock period, which I feel like if you go at just random times, you're not going to stick to it. You're going to be like, okay, I'll rather do this, or I'll rather fall to my old habit.
Yeah, it's like you gotta develop a routine, like a lot of people I noticed that a lot of people that go to the gym in the morning, obviously, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're more productive throughout the day because, they wake up, they go to the gym, they get their workout done, and then after that, they can do whatever they want for the rest of the day. But they probably feel more motivated to do so because they already woke up and got their workout done.
I'm saying in general, for this new year, I think we should really focus on how to break a bad habit first. When you're setting a goal for yourself, you're setting a goal, but you're also setting a bunch of minuscule principles to accomplish that goal. So that falls under habits. But how do we get away from the bad first? Because that's a big part. You don't want to be counterintuitive. Again, you want to have a good diet when you're trying to get fit for this year. You can't outrun a bad diet. So I think step one of doing that is to make it invisible. Make all these habits that we have that are bad seem like a force to do.
Yeah.
If you're trying to reduce your screen time, okay, wake up, don't look at your phone for 30 minutes. That's going to be a little difficult at first, but through progression, those 2 weeks, the 2-week rule, that you'll get over it, and then you can progress even further than that. But that's step one. You're not going to just reduce the amount of screen time you have by not going on your phone all day. That's near impossible. That's such a huge jump. You want to transition into things. So while we are trying to break bad habits, we can simultaneously create good habits. Make the good habits obvious. Make them obvious so we can have a cue to act on them. If we are hiding our habits, we're never going to be exposed to them. We need exposure to the things that we want to change.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think acknowledging is a really good step too, because not a lot of people they don't want to give themselves self accountability to the bad habits, and sometimes they don't even know what they're like, that they're doing it. Like they'll miss one class for school, and then the next week they miss it again. They don't even know subconsciously that this is becoming a habit.
Exactly. This is something that I used to do. I don't know if anybody else would do it, but when I would set a goal for myself, for instance, I wanted to get an A in my psychology class this year. If I missed a class, I would do something physical, like put my pillow on the ground, something like that, where if I missed that class, don't look at me like that.
What the fuck are you talking about? Where is this
I'll put something out of place.
Okay.
Because then I know I did something not helping me. So then if I physically can see it, that, okay, well, why is this pillow on the ground? Yeah. Oh, it's because I didn't go to my class. So now I'm gonna remember.
Oh, you're associating that.
So now I'm gonna remember. Okay.
Then, okay.
Exactly. But that's what it is. You have to trick your brain into thinking a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just implementing a new strategy. When you set a goal, you also want to design your environment around it. I think it just makes the cues of good habits obvious and visible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I also think breaking bad habits, we want to make things unattractive to us. Eating healthy is attractive. Eating unhealthy is unattractive.
Mm.
I'm going to draw just one simple goal of being fitness, but this applies to anything. If you want to pay off debt this year, well, how do we do that? Well, we're going to find out that spending money on Starbucks every single day, it's not going to help us. So that's becoming unattractive to us now. When you really want something that bad, you have to make the things and the principles leading to that goal attractive. You want the urge to act on them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of like resenting from temptations, and I think that's when a lot of people quit, is when the things that they're trying to make unattractive are too hard to make unattractive, but it's because they're not making the right things attractive.
Right, exactly.
Very true,
and they're continuing to do these habits throughout the day. Like every day. Like you said, the Starbucks thing. It's like even like, I'm trying to think what else. Like simple as like using nicotine. Like trying to quit Nick.
Yeah, yeah.
You know how many people have like came to me like, and it's like, oh, like, bro, I promise this is my last one. Then I see them again.
And then you see them
again.
They
have another one, and they're like, dude, I promise it's the last one. It's the last one.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. It's hard to fight addiction.
Yeah.
But the only way to get over your addiction is by taking shit seriously.
You gotta take action.
And like actually, because you're gonna have urges. Everybody has urges.
Everybody.
And urges are so hard to resist.
And that's your mind telling you, like, go back, like, do something easy, for example, like the nicotine, that urge.
Making a goal is not easy. When you have that thought on New Year's, when you have that thought of, okay, I'm going to do this year, you're not thinking, I'm going to do this in a month or 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah, no.
You're kind of hoping that by summer you'll rethink the same knowledge that you're thinking with right now to then apply yourself when it's in the fall or something. I mean, I've fallen victim of that. When I've made it like a vouch to myself, oh, I'm going to do this year, and I don't start off the year acting on it at all in any way, not even a little thing that could help me, I end up forgetting about it, and then it goes to shit. It never happens. And this is the same for almost everybody.
Yeah.
But how can we make it different this year? Giving a new approach on things.
Well, first, for like the quote unquote New Year's new me type thing, I think a lot of people they overload their list, so they have like 10 things that they want to accomplish, which that can be pretty overwhelming. I'm gonna be honest with you, depending on how big those things are. It could be, maybe going to the gym, or I want to do this. I want to do this class. I want to learn about this. Maybe it's a financial thing. I think if you just focus on 2 to 3 things and just put your all into it rather than half-assing, because I feel like the more stuff you overload your list with, you'll half-ass some other stuff. Right. and not put your full into it and get more out of it. And actually,
you have so much potential.
Yeah.
I also think when people are making goals long term wise, again for like the new year new me thing, they kind of say things that are out of their current abilities.
Yeah.
So they give these very bold topics that they want to do and cover this year, but this is kind of way out of the realm of what they can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Goldilocks rule, and it states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. So if you make a more logical base goal and actually don't even think long term, think short term. Okay, mm-hmm. I'm going to have a little goal to accomplish a bigger goal. I'm going to focus on that more though, because I mean, you don't think about reading, I guess, the conclusion summary of a book until you get through chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. You know what I mean? You got to take it one step at a time, a chapter at a time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people too are just like, okay, how do I get to here? Like they just focus on the outcome rather than their present state, and it just distracts them. It's like, okay, for example, I want to earn $1 million this year. It's like, oh, but have you even came close to it? Maybe start with $1,000 and then $10,000 and keep going up and up and up to generate that over time. They just focus on the outcome rather than their present state, and they don't even have a plan to attack it, like at all.
Right, exactly. Like I was saying before, how like you gotta make those little milestones in between that big goal, so that way you're more motivated to achieve that goal. And
then when you do that, though, that's when it becomes important to not break the chain.
Yes.
Right. When you're setting the ball rolling, I mean, you also will be you'll have a higher motor when you're seeing progress in yourself. But some people can be tricked and deceived by that progress as, okay, actually, you know what? I'm comfortable right here. No, that goal was pretty hard when you made that goal. Keep going. You can keep going. Just like, I mean, when you start a book, chapter 1 looks pretty intimidating at first because look at how many pages follow after this. Oh, you think to yourself, I got to read all that? Well, you can't. You just got to take it one piece at a time. There was somebody actually very famous, Jerry Seinfeld, who did this. He's a comedian. He would write down a joke every day in a booklet, and he essentially kept track of the streak of writing jokes. What Seinfeld was doing was subconsciously and consciously getting the acknowledgement of his own path to success. He never broke the chain to what led to his success, and he's now a very successful comedian. That's his goal, though. Everybody's capable of making a goal. Everyone is. As a general to people, that how we can make this new year a different and a better opportunity is by implementing these things. So I also think while you're habit tracking these new things that you're learning, it's important to create strategies where you could see your improvement. Just because, like, if your goal is not to get into fitness this year, if your goal is not into any kind of physical thing that you can see, how do we know psychologically that we're working towards our goals? So I think the paperclip strategy is a very, very good strategy. So basically you have 2 jars, one full of paper clips, one totally empty with paper clips. But whenever you do something that is working towards a goal, when you get through a chapter of a book, if you want to become more knowledgeable, you move one paper clip from the full pile to the empty pile, and then over time you're going to see, oh wow, my full pile is going to become my empty pile, and that means I got to where my goal is. That's a big thing. People don't really do that.
That is a big thing, yeah.
I do kind of want to go back to what you said about what like the new year means to you, because I feel like that's more of a relation to our title of the podcast.
Yep.
So I kind of want each of us to kind of just go. I mean, I know you kind of already explained it, but I kind of want me and Brett to kind of talk about what the new year means to us and how people can attack it from different ways. So, Brett, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, the new year, the new opportunity stuff means to me is like I said, don't overload your goals. I think just taking it step by step, focusing on one thing, you'll get the most out of it. You'll show the most potential through it, and also you'll learn a lot. I think another thing, I was talking about the whole outcome thing. They don't focus on the journey to it. What got you to start this? Like, for example, this podcast. What got us to start this podcast? And now look at us, 3 episodes deep already, and it's been a learning experience this whole time. And I think this is like we're in an uncomfortable situation because we're not fully comfortable yet, you know. I feel like never reaching what you were saying earlier is, and don't get too comfortable. Once you reach a certain milestone, keep going. You keep pushing yourself, keep creating new challenges. You don't have to have all these challenges at first. Just focus on one goal and then reiterate to another goal.
I agree. I think for me, this new year, a goal that I'm setting for myself is to learn new bits and pieces about myself that I've never known. I want to find out how I handle different things that I've never tested myself to do. Mm-hmm. One way I do that now that I'm going to head into this year with is taking cold showers. It sucks, but it does a lot for me mentally. I feel like, okay, well, this is just temporary and I'm learning about myself once I get out of the shower kind of thing. Or, yeah, I wake up and I do 25 push-ups. Well, I learned something about myself after I did that. And I continuously learn something about it. The algorithm of it, I continue it because then I know I'm also not giving up. I also want to do something this year, which is change the narrative of doing things that I don't really want to do. Say I get to do this, not I have to do this. That is a simple change, but very, very detrimental. And I think if I'm able to give enlightenment to myself on things that I don't necessarily want to do, I'll be that much more likely to do it, and it will benefit me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love the I get to do this rather than I have to go to work, I have to go to school. It's like you get to do this. And I feel like practicing that certain level of gratitude too is also like you're instantly happy. Like it instantly just changes your mood. It gets you motivated like instantly.
Because think, you have an opportunity that not many people do. If you want to go for a run, but you think, oh, I have to do this today. I have to stretch and then go for a run. Well, somebody who has no legs wishes they could even walk.
Yeah.
You're blinded by the advantages and opportunities you have until you see people who aren't as fortunate as you. So capitalize on them and say, I get to do this. I'm blessed by God to do this, not I have to do this.
I feel like we have a lot of opportunities and we have to take advantage of them while we have them.
Exactly.
It's like we can't look at them as, like you said, like we have to go do these things. Like going to the gym. Oh, you have to go to the gym today. No, you get to go to the gym. People can't even pay for gym memberships. Like people, so they can't walk. So it's hard for them to get to the gym. Or some people don't have enough money to continuously pay for a membership for the gym.
Yeah.
So at least, look at those kind of things as like, okay, like I'm blessed to actually do this. And it's such a small thing, which is crazy.
So small.
Like you think it's just so simple. Like it's going to the gym. Like, oh, everybody can go to the gym. No, they can't. Not,
It's actually not like that.
Everybody gets to do that. I'm also gonna lead into what I was saying before about what New Year's means to me. Like we've all been agreeing with. I say it's a new chance to get open up new opportunities for ourselves. Yep. My goal this year is to save more money. I think that was something that I was just horrible at this year. In these past couple of years, so that's one thing I definitely want to get better at. And I am agreeing with you about how you said finding new like bits and pieces of yourself, because we control our bodies every day and stuff, but we still don't know ourselves like we think we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot more that we have to learn about ourselves, over time.
Yep.
Because I'm sitting here talking like I'm me, but there's some things that I don't even know I'm capable of.
Yeah.
I feel like the subconscious expectation heading into every New Year's is that I'm going to change this year and I'm going to grow. But people don't put themselves in positions to do that. So then when they come by December, they're ready to say the same thing all over again. But I think the beauty of human nature is that every year we get a chance of life to improve ourselves, to evolve and grow. That's why we always hold this new year, new me thing on a pedestal. But I think people just really need to sit back and understand that you want to enter the year different than how you're going to end the year. You want to evolve over that time period and set goals on how you can do that. That's my goal, at least, and that's my interpretation.
I think having to getting the opportunity to step into a new year is a blessing too.
Agreed.
Because not everybody makes it throughout the year. Many people die.
Yeah.
Throughout a year. So if you get the opportunity to even get a new opportunity, to even walk into a new year, that's big. And so you gotta take advantage of it. You gotta live. What do people say? Live every day like there's no tomorrow. You got like the small things throughout the day, like how I told you guys a couple weeks ago. How I was like, I want you guys to wake up today, and throughout the week, and I want you guys to do something that you guys don't normally do, because just hypothetically speaking, I never want to put bad energy out there, but if something were to happen to one of us and you weren't able to get that opportunity because you didn't do it, you took advantage of that day because you're like, oh, I'll have tomorrow. No, don't do that. If you ever get the opportunity to do something that day, I want you guys to do it.
It's not guaranteed the sun's going to come up the next day.
Right, exactly.
We all expect it to. It's not guaranteed.
Right, exactly. I mean, of course, that's a good way to think about it because, you're thinking positive. It's like, obviously, nobody mopes around all day and is like, like, I'm going to die tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But, stuff is, it's so sad to say too, but stuff is so unexpected, especially with kids our age. There's car accidents, there's overdoses, there's stuff like that. So stuff could just be taken from you like that. So that's why we have to wake up in the morning. That's why I like waking up early in the morning now. Never waste a day. You sleep in, right? You're wasting half of the opportunities that that you could possibly do, like going to the gym in the morning.
Yeah.
If you sleep till 12, that opportunity's gone.
Doesn't even have to be the gym in the morning. It could be waking up and reading, becoming more knowledgeable throughout the year.
Yeah.
I think broadening the goals that you make throughout this year fits with your identity. Like, you want to become this person. You want to become this voice, this knowledgeable person, this fit person. How do we do that? Well, we break it up into different things. That's like what I think you're getting at.
Yeah. Pretty much. It's like you gotta like,
by maximizing the environment you have around you and your opportunity. Yep. It can be with anything though. If you're heading into this year not in a great mental state, and obviously you want to get out of that mental state, how do I do that? Well, I want to become happy with myself. Let's get at it every single day now. It's not a leisure activity and it's not a chore. You get to do it. You have the new opportunity. And New Year's Eve is a day where you can self-reflect on exactly what you want to change and act on it the next day, because it's a fresh start, fresh slate, psychologically and physically, because it's a whole new calendar year. Or, okay, I'm going to do it. And you got to constantly remind yourself that you can do it, because you also just got through the tougher times, and you'll never even realize that those were your tough times until you find your successful times and your happy times.
And then you, like I said, you reflect on it, and then you're like, wow, like look how far I've come. Yeah, you know what
exactly.
I mean? You got to be able to use the resources around you and kind of mold yourself into the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
Damn
straight.
straight.
I mean?
Yeah. Another thing too is, like, I fell victim to this too, is people, they don't it gets to December, say they want to do whatever it is. They want to go to the gym, they want to hire a nutrition coach, whatever that may be. They want to go on walks, they want to go on runs, whatever. And they wait. And they just wait until January 1st. Why don't you start that now?
Right,
and
exactly.
lead it into the new year. So you already have a habit, a routine created. All you gotta do is continue with it, improve yourself, track it, and plan it. Like, they wait, and what happens? It passes by. They forget about it.
Some people even head into the new year not even associating yet at all, like, how they're gonna become that person. Well, step one, you're actually working towards your goal and you're not even conscious of it. Step one is self-reflecting. Like, it doesn't always have to be on New Year's Eve where you self-reflect. It could be New Year's Day. Okay, I'm gonna set up who I want to be this year. You don't know how to do it yet. You're not piecing together the puzzle, but something you could do though is have internalization thoughts that allow you to reflect on what you want to do. So you could be making progress psychologically that you don't really see right away, but it's there. It's evident. That is process. That is part of the process.
I do want to draw an example. So it's kind of like you were saying before, like, why not start now? Why do you have to start New Year's Day? It's like momentum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like accelerating. It's like when people run, right? When you sprint, you're not fast right off of the, right when you start running. You got to, slowly build up speed and get to your full potential. So if you were to start now, that momentum going into the new year, you're already building a routine. You go into that new year wanting to do something and you have no acceleration, no momentum behind it, you're more likely to, crash and burn.
Yeah.
And where people, that's where people...
So people hang up the white flag and that's it.
Right, it's a white flag, I'm done, that 2-week thing, okay, whatever. This routine's too hard, it's too much work, and then they give up.
Yeah, no.
Another thing I wanted to say was, reflecting on yourself at the end of the year, it's almost like, I'm going to relate this to sports. So, after a team ends their season, they look back on their season and see what they did wrong, what they could do better for next year. I think everybody should self-reflect and, you know, look at all their failures and stuff, you know, that they could do better, that they, you know, that they did the past year, and, you know, work on it into the next year. So that way, when you come across these little situations and these opportunities, you know how to, you know,
handle it.
Right, exactly. You know how to hit it and stuff like that.
But, yeah, like a plane doesn't stop traveling to its destination. It keeps going.
It keeps going.
It builds that momentum.
But yeah, it's something just so simple. I think people just need, you know, like another example, like with the plane. A plane doesn't just take off like from like, you know, sitting still. It has to, you know, accelerate, go down the runway, and then it takes off.
I also think getting the ball rolling for that, though, is pushing yourself with a little more energy. Typically, people want to take the least path of resistance or principle of least action, which is the path followed between any 2 points that will always require the least amount of energy.
The easy way out is what people, you know.
Which isn't bad. It's not a bad thing, but it's important to realize that has to evolve to reach that goal. The more energy required for something, the less likely you are to follow through with that objective. That says something. That statement says something, because if you're always looking at the easy option, you're gonna have to expect easier results, not the better results. Mm-hmm. Easy's not always good. So for me, I want to give a little bit more energy in things that I don't necessarily love to do, but I know it's gonna help me reach that goal, that overall goal. It's just the minuscule details that pair along with it. I think once we get the ball rolling and we can keep it rolling, switching our senses of motivation is a big part of it. So people who first start goals may feel an extrinsic motivation, which is the motivation to prove people wrong, motivated for some sort of reward. But I think as you mature over your cycle of reaching that goal and all these other things that you got to do for it, you become intrinsically motivated. You actually want to do this now because it's for your own pride and enjoyment. Yeah. It's your own self-accomplishment of, wow, you know, I just did that. You can say that to yourself now. Yeah. That sounds a lot more rewarding than getting whatever you thought you were going to get at the beginning. Because when you go through a journey of self-improvement and you go through a journey of working and achieving towards things, it switches your motivation and it switches the way you think towards that goal. You affiliate it in your mind with, now you're happy. You're happy doing it. You get to do it, not have to do it. I think that's all we needed to talk about today.
Yeah,
to conclude, for this year, I want everyone who's listening to this to just self-reflect going into the year on who you are currently and who you envision yourself becoming. But when you do that, picture who you will also be becoming in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, one piece at a time every step of the way. You're not going to become that person you want to become overnight. It's a process. We've learned about it ourselves individually, and it's true. Mm-hmm. You have to go through a state of progression. Everything in life involves a state of progression. You can't just wake up the next day, have a house built for you ready to go. You can't. So just self-reflect on who you are right now, who you want to become, and the path, and understanding the path that lies between that.
Yeah, 1% better every day, 1% better every day. Build momentum and get to that goal.
Exactly.
Yep, and
see you guys next week.
Yeah, we hope you all have a good New Year's. Again.
Happy holidays, everybody.
You can find our socials again. We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all that. Of course, official _ the Winners Club. And yeah, so we'll talk to y'all later.